My New Year's resolution in 2020 was to normalize my relationship with food. I had some social problems relating to my out of control eating disorder, and a lot of people will comment that I wasn't very overweight. And the truth is that I really wasn't. And I actually don't like to weigh myself, but earlier today I had a circumstance where I had to get weighed, and I found out how much I weighed. I'll get to that in a second. But more importantly, I want to talk about a fringe benefit of having a normal relationship with food, which I have had for almost 2 years now. I'm recording this in October of 2021. I'm getting ready to start my second holiday season since making the resolution. Now, the holiday season is kind of tricky for me because a bunch of nostalgia that I like to sometimes indulge in to the detriment of my health. Halloween and Thanksgiving are both very tricky for me for two memories that I made during the ghosts of previous holiday seasons. When I was 12 years old, I went trick-or-treating for the last time in my life. My mom had taken me there, and she was 7 months pregnant with my brother at the time. And I had a good time. You know, you gotta remember, as a 12-year-old, I was nervous about how my parents would treat me after I wasn't the only child anymore. And I brought home this big bag of candy. And my parents warned me not to eat it all in one sitting, but being 12 years old, I ignored them, and I decided to eat it all in one sitting. Long story short, I vomited on the kitchen floor. And when I tried to clean up the vomit, it disgusted me even more, and I vomited even more. And ever since then, I had such a good time that Halloween. Now, keep in mind, the reason I had the good time had nothing to do with binging on Halloween candy. It was the good time I was spending with my mom being pregnant, and my just having some fun times as a 12-year-old, right? Going out trick-or-treating. And not having some of the later challenges I would have as a teenager and as a young adult, right? That's the good memory, right? The Halloween binging just got mixed in with there for really no good reason other than that they happened at the same time, right? Now, after that Halloween, every Halloween I seem to want to re-indulge in that memory and try to binge eat, right? Now, eventually I stopped consuming refined sugar because I felt so good after I adjusted my diet. When I was 16 years old, I quit drinking soda, and not long after that, I stopped consuming all refined sugar, and I felt so good. But every Halloween, I would binge on baking chocolate. I had a favorite organic candy bar called Larabar, and I binged on that several other Halloweens in recent times. I never felt good. But I just keep wanting to indulge in that memory, and it just keeps working to my detriment. I didn't last year. I went on a fast last year. But 2019 I binged. The year before that I also binged. I think one year I shot a video of myself binging on Halloween, trying to relive that memory. I never really relive it. Actually, the closest I ever came to reliving it was last year when I was fasting, because I actually had a good time making videos and enjoying all the other spoils of life, right? That just goes to show how stupid human psychology can be. Now, the Thanksgiving holiday is also tricky for me because of another memory I made. I was 17 years old at this point. I was going to college, and I had a big fear of flying because 9/11 was still fresh on my mind. I had flown once after 9/11, but then after we got home, not long after that, Columbia crashed, and I developed a major fear of flying. Now, my parents went to go see my aunt and uncle that Thanksgiving, and I stayed home alone. Now, I had just started eating healthier. I had stopped consuming refined white sugar, and I made the mistake of eating a little bit too much on the night of Black Friday. And I threw in the towel, and I'm like, I already cheated. I might as well eat everything I want that one night. Because you have to understand, I was trying to lose weight to impress a girl that I liked in college. And now that, I was supposed to eat 2,000 calories, I had already eaten 4. I thought I might as well just throw in the towel. And so I finished the rest of the Thanksgiving turkey. Must have been at least half a turkey. I finished it all down. And then I felt even more guilty. And I went into this spiral of, I gotta, I've already blown it. I might as well just have everything I want, right? And so I went out to, I didn't have a driver's license at the time, so I walked to the grocery store. I got a 10-pound bag of potatoes and a jar of coconut oil, and I made my favorite recipe for French fries, and I wolfed it all down. 10 pounds of potatoes. And then I felt even more guilty and felt like I should probably indulge in everything else that I liked. I went out again and I collapsed. You gotta understand, I must have had 10 or 20,000 calories all told at this point, and I got a major headache. And I sat down at a park bench. This is late November. It's in Pittsburgh. It's relatively cold, and I just I kind of fainted. And we live in a small town, and the local police officer who knew me and my family came to check up on me and asked me what was going on. And when I explained about how I was so disgusted with myself about how much I had eaten, I was, he thought I was suicidal. And he asked where my parents were, and he thought I was lying when I said that they were on vacation. At this point, it was the last day of their vacation. My family had just arrived at Pittsburgh International Airport, and the officer called my parents, and my parents confirmed that sometimes my diet can be a little bit wacky like that. And the officer explained that I'll be waiting for them at the police station. My parents came to pick me up. My mom was so upset. You gotta understand, this was 2004 when not much was known about behavioral challenges like this is called the abstinence violation effect, by the way, when you think you've blown it and you might as well just indulge, right? They didn't understand that. Not very much was understood about binge eating disorders at the time. You got to remember, 2004 was when we even started talking about obesity like it was a disease, right? Binge eating like it was a disease. Not much was understood about it. My parents just thought I misbehaved, and I got a major spanking, and I wasn't allowed to walk to the store for many months after that, which was a good thing. I needed to clear my head, and I had some other things that I wanted to do. I ended up working on a math problem called Ramsey theory while I was grounded at home, and I really enjoyed that. And ever since then, Halloween and Thanksgiving have been very tricky for me because I keep wanting to relive those memories. Now, the Thanksgiving memory I kind of liked because I really enjoyed those couple of hours I spent with the police officer who actually cared enough about me to call my family and not let me continue to harm myself. And I got a really nice warm fuzzy feeling out of that. Obviously, in the subsequent years when I've binged on Thanksgiving to try to relive that memory, I never made another friend, so that's kind of a fallacy. If anything, last year when I didn't binge is when I actually made some friends, right? That's just how it goes sometimes, right? What we think we're trying to chase, it doesn't turn out the way it does, right? Now this year is kind of interesting. I'm recording this in October of 2021. And the drug industry is trying to push this one drug, and if we don't take it, we might lose our jobs, our livelihoods, our way of life. Now, ever since I've cleaned up my eating and I'm not binge eating anymore, I feel a lot less threatened about the prospect of losing my job. Because yes, I'll certainly lose my home, I might lose some other things, but at least I'm not going to feel drug withdrawal anymore, right? And it becomes a lot more objective to do it. It's not, oh my god, I got to get my fix, I got to go do my job, and maybe I'll have to compromise and take this drug, or maybe I'm just going to be a mess. No, it's, well, let's work this out, right? And it's really emancipated me from that problem. So I have to, instead of taking this drug, I have to take this alternative where I have this sharp object put up my nose. So this morning I went to the doctor's office to do that, and I had to weigh myself, and I was in for a shock at how much I weighed. I hadn't seen a number that low for many, many years, right? It kind of feels like when I go to buy gold or silver and I see a really low number, right? It felt like that kind of high, right? See a low number you haven't seen for 10 years. And then I had to get the sharp object put up my nose, unfortunately, and it was very uncomfortable as usual. But I was thinking to myself, if it ever came down to it, I have some leeway to, maybe I'll have to move back into my car for some time while I search for other ways to make a living. But at least I'm not going to feel drug withdrawal while I'm doing it, and I really felt so good when I remembered that. Anyway, it just goes to show what makes you happy and what doesn't, right?